Okay, hello everyone. Here we are with the Zelda 2 Randomizer Tournament Swiss round race between DarkMagician and VReznor. And I'm just getting the last little bit of my side set up for the restream. And I'm going to be joined by Cool in the Gank on commentary. This should be a good race. Just making sure they're both ready in the SRL channel, and we'll be off shortly. Okay. So they should be off once the restream lag catches up. So I'm gonna pause Dark Magician until... Okay, there they should be in sync. And so as you see, they found a palace right off the start. I missed what it was. We have the grass tile with the water of life. Both of them are finding that. So, water of life. Oh. Trying to mark everything on the tracker as we go. So Dark Magician has found Death Mountain there. One of the flags that you can set gives a random tunic color. It doesn't really change anything about the game, but it does make it kind of neat. Dark Magician did find Ruto, but he does not have the trophy to redeem the spell in that. Over on VReznor's side, he has found a P-Bag Cave. Normally in vanilla, this just has a P-Bag, but in the randomizer, it can have an item. So he's going to be hoping to find the glove or maybe something to unlock a spell. He found the boots, which are... that is another good item to have. So let me mark that there. Oh, and we have the boots also for Dark Magician. So I'm expecting this to be a pretty good matchup between the two. VReznor is a very strong vanilla player, but doesn't play much of the randomizer, and Dark Magician plays primarily randomizer as far as I know. The boots allow you to walk on water tiles, so it helps for exploration. Looks like Dark Magician has found the Heart Container Cave, and I think VReznor is also in there. Oh, and there's the Red Daira is proving to be a bit of a challenge with Attack 1 and Life 2 for both runners. Okay, VReznor takes down the Red Daira. And what is he going to be greeted with? The Kid. The Kid is used to help, or it allows you to get a spell on the eastern continent from the town of Darunia. So let me mark that, and... So I will do my best to try to address questions as they come up. There are, I'm sure, going to be some knowledgeable people in the chat who can help answer questions that I miss. And sounds like Cool in the Gank is back.
Hi, I'm back. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I'm just opening multi-twitch.
Okay, so we are back in action. VReznor found either Palace 2 or 5. So far, they've both found the boots, medicine, and child. They've also found an entrance to Death Mountain, but neither of them has really explored it. Yeah, so. Okay, Dark Magician finds Jump Cave and doesn't want to go through there. Dark Magician going into Mido because he has the medicine that he can turn in for a spell. So he's going to be hoping for one of the 3 required spells, which are Fairy, Thunder, and Reflect. But we'll see if he gets one of those or if he gets one of the less exciting spells like Fire.
So the history between VReznor and Dark Magician is that in the last tournament they went up against each other. So what we're looking at is a rematch, and people will remember last time they went up against each other because it was a very close race.
Yeah.
And them both taking a game over to Dark Link.
Oh gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and Dark Link actually, I think had I think VReznor died to Dark Link, and then and in the end I believe it was Dark. I think it was Dark Magician who won.
I think you're right.
With a time of 2 hours and 1 minute, and VReznor had 2 hours and 3 minutes. It was very, very close.
Okay. Yeah, and in the first round, both of these players won their races with times under 90 minutes. So, and they both found Medicine Cave here, which we call it that because the medicine is what you get in the vanilla game. Dark Magician opting to take Magic Level 2.
The seed that they had last time they faced up in the fall tournament was very trolly. I looked it up. It was a hammer and 6 to get the kid to get Reflect.
Oh my gosh, that is a trolley seed. So they got a heart container in this cave, which will help with survivability, but it's probably not really what they're looking for. Dark Magician making good use of that Thunder spell to take out the Red Dyra, and promptly up A's. Thought maybe Reznor was going to go through the connection cave. So, Dark Magician has found Saria. This is a town that you can get another free spell from. Or I guess it's the first one we've seen so far. And VReznor has found the Magic Cave. And gets a pea bag. So I'm sure he's not super happy about that, but it will help him get a quick attack level. So being able to kill things faster can help you move through the game faster. Dark Magician has found the life spell. That's not one that you're ever upset about finding. Though it is not strictly required. Okay. Yeah, and VReznor, the reason that they keep trying to go into caves is there are 5 caves on the western continent that can have items, and 1 overworld spot that can have items. Dark Magician is now taking the chance to at least poke his head into some of the caves in Death Mountain. We'll see if he's trying to find the Hammer Cave for an item. He does not have the hammer to get the item out of Spectacle Rock yet, but those are the 2 items that are always guaranteed, or two places that are guaranteed to have items in Death Mountain.
some players will like to explore the caves that are near the entrance, just in case they get lucky and find the hammer cave right away, and that's shown to sometimes be a winning move. But it's up to the player to decide how far out they want to go inside Death Mountain, because it's always a gamble.
Right, and it can also be a good opportunity early on to do a little bit of grinding when you've got some of the enemies worth more experience that can help boost your levels early on. And VReznor finds Fairy Spell. Oh, he's also... I missed that he has the Life Spell as well, so let me mark that.
That's a great find. Fairy Spell allows you to enter palaces and maybe bypass doors when you're out of keys.
Right, yeah. So that's the thing with this. You can possibly become key blocked in some of these palaces, even though we have the extra keys flag turned on for palaces. So what that means for us is the Fairy Spell can allow you to go through the doors, as Cool said, which can help prevent you from getting blocked.
And VReznor found Palace 3 or 6.
Okay, and he also sees the raft spot and
a rock block cave right there.
Yes, so that means there's at least one item on the western continent that requires the hammer outside of the Death Mountain. Okay.
The outer end of Jump Cave.
So VReznor, opting to stay as far away from Death Mountain as he can, goes into Palace 1, and with his levels and with the Fairy Spell and the extra keys, I cannot blame him for diving into Palace 1 right now. And Palace 1 is a very short palace, so since it's early on and we're still looking for the glove and the raft, I expect that he will go searching for the item, even if he finds Horsehead, which is the palace boss, first. So,
just in case, because you don't want to have to come back, especially if you're missing a crucial item like the glove.
Right. Yeah, I had that happen to me one time. I was missing. It ended up being the item that was blocking Reflect, and Dark Magician has found Hammer Cave.
Just found Hammer Cave. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what's in Hammer Cave.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if Hammer Cave has a very important item like either the glove or the raft, which are required items, and so that will, we'll see what VReznor, when he decides he has to go hunting for it, if that's what we find.
And they're almost at similar levels now, except Dark Magician's at Life 3.
Right.
And VReznor at 2.
Yeah, so the Life 3 will give Dark Magician a little bit more survivability. But at when Reznor's going in Palace 1, Life 2's not so bad, and it's pretty easy to get that level up a little bit higher. I think he's going to try to focus on leveling attack as much as he can. At least initially, so... And it is the raft in Hammer Cave. So that's going to be interesting to see when Reznor decides to go for that.
Yeah, that's definitely a solid advantage. Going into the to East Hyrule as fast as possible is always a good thing. You level faster, you find spells that you might need a lot faster.
Yeah, Dark Magician also found either 3 or 6, and opting not to explore further. Without having the hammer and being or downstab at this point, I don't really blame him.
VReznor chose Eon Please as his name.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what he's begging. What is it he's asking him?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's just giving me a hard time. And now
No
we have
messages
Fairy
directed at me
Spell.
so far.
Yeah, we have the Fairy Spell for Dark Magician. I'm sure he's very happy to find that.
Fairy Life Thunder, all he's missing is Reflect, or maybe the Fire Spell with Reflect, and he would be covered with spells to possibly finish the game. He just would have.
Yep, yeah, he's the only spell he needs left is the Reflect. You might want Jump.
From Palace 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Jump is always a good...
Oh, item 1. Oh, that is the magic key. So that's a good item to have. It's not required, but now VReznor will never be blocked when it comes to keys. So
this seed, very friendly so far. Although I don't want to... Maybe just saying that makes the glove go in 5 or something.
Right. Yeah. Well, at this point now, the seed is the logic is smart enough to know. Well, Reznor sees a dead end and immediately recognizes it and turns around.
Is VReznor an all keys runner more than Randomizer? I don't remember seeing him in the Randomizer races a lot.
Yeah, VReznor is primarily a vanilla speedrunner, and he's got I think he's got a 1:16 all keys time, or if it's not a 1:16, it's a low 1:17. He's got a very good all keys time. So, and now he's just
Randomizer player. He's raced against him quite a lot, and sometimes he get way ahead of me, and sometimes I get way ahead of him. So I'm assuming our styles are very different. That's why I'm looking forward to seeing what he does here.
So at this point, it feels like VReznor has pretty much full explored the palace, and so the Horsehead has to be coming up very soon.
Horsehead.
Here we go. And I suspect Reznor will make quick work of Horsehead.
Horsehead seems to be on the higher end of HP here.
Yep. So, and I think
even with attack 3, taking quite a lot of hits before he goes down. And only giving 20 XP for it. So.
And placing the gem, we'll see what Reznor decides to do with the experience. Just takes life 3. Oh. Dark Magician finds Horsehead before finding the item. Chibi Plan, the fire spell is randomized to be paired with another spell. So it may be paired with Reflect or Thunder, or it may be paired with Jump or something. So, or even Fairy, and that's interesting when you get the fire spell paired with Fairy. Oh, and we have the gem placed for Dark Magician. And he dives back in for the item, which at this point I don't blame him. He's going to want to find the glove if he can. He doesn't want to have to go into 3 or 6 without the glove if he can avoid that.
I sometimes go for the boss skill first and then look for the item because I feel like I can just up in and get out of there as fast as possible. Whereas if I get the item first, I still have to look for the boss and I am afraid to backtrack.
Right. Yeah, and Dark Magician making good use of the Thunder spell to take out that Mago for getting good experience. I expect he's going to get attack 4 here soon.
Early Thunder can be so useful, and especially the best. One combination I like is when the fire spell is actually Thunder, and it's so cheap to cast. You can get 8 Thunder spells in. You become like an evil warlock or something.
So, and yes, I didn't see. This has got to be Palace 2 that VReznor is in. I was watching Dark Magician. But yeah, looking at the rooms, this looks like
it, yeah.
Palace 2. Yep. Okay.
So far 1 and 2 on the Western continent.
And then the other one is either 3 or 6, so it could be 1, 2, 3 on the West.
The seed just continues to act in a very friendly manner.
Yeah, we'll see if we still think that after we find out where the glove is.
Right.
Yeah, and I was right, Dark Magician does get attack 4. And because Dark Magician hasn't found the item yet, he's digging in to get these keys, and since he's relying on the Thunder spell, he doesn't have the luxury of being able to cast Fairy. And it looks like the Dripper enemies are Orange Iron Knuckles this time, so that can be some good, quick, easy experience.
VReznor took a death to a sandwich of Iron Knuckles back there.
Oh. And Dark Magician took a death to, I think it was Mago Fire. VReznor finding Helmet Head.
Yeah.
And I do know that VReznor has done some Attack 1 runs of the vanilla game, so I suspect that he's going to be pretty comfortable with low levels. He's actually going to be able to get Attack 4 out of this, but I don't think he's going to shy away from burning a gem if he has to. And here we have Dark Magician finding the item room.
And he's going back for the item.
And that makes sense. Right now, VReznor wants to find either the glove or the raft at this point, and probably more so the raft than the glove, because if he gets the raft, then he can go to the east to find the glove, but we all know that he's not going to find the raft here, so... and it's just a heart container. Oh, and VReznor seeing that it was a heart container and just up-A's out of there, so...
Did he take it? He did. I assume he did.
I think he up-A'd before he got it.
He's got 6 heart...
Maybe he did grab it. I guess he must have grabbed it, okay. Oh, and he doesn't have the hammer to check what's behind that. Dark Magician must be... I was wondering why he hasn't up-A'd or anything. He must be grinding for a little bit extra experience. Trying to get a level before he up-A's.
That's the Palace 3 or 6.
And Dark Magician takes a death and loses all that experience, so I'm sure he's not happy about that. But now he's checking out the east, and at this point I don't blame him. Have either of the runners at this point actually gone back to pick up Downstab?
Palace 7.
Oh, we find Great Palace. So, which is interesting because they both got the spell from Mito, but it was before they had the fairy spell, and neither have made their way back to get the downstab.
East without the downstab because it's a little harder to navigate, and it's also you're gonna have to go back and get it eventually.
Right, and so it looks like VReznor is, I'm guessing, begrudgingly going into
That is 6. I believe there's a key. There's a door right at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's 6, but I could be wrong.
So, and it's an immediate glove block. Oh, Dark Magician finds the flute, or the plunger as we call it, finds...
He was in need of a plumber, right?
Yeah. And gets the shield spell from Old Kasuto. Takes a death to the invisible Moas. So these invisible enemies that are hurting Dark Magician right here, you can see them if you get the cross item. So it's not a necessary item, but it does make some screens a little bit easier to deal with when you get it. So, and of the 4 towns on the Eastern continent, 3 of them have basically free spells that you can get, and we have the kid to get the spell from this town.
So he can get a free spell from every town.
Right. So, and this is also the town where you get upstab.
Possible here.
Oh, Dark Magician opting not to get the upstab. I figure if you're going in anyway, why not get it? So.
Yeah, and I noticed that the people who don't go for downstab are people that have never lost or upstab, and rather is people that have not lost a run because it was required. And then once it happens to you once, you want to get it.
Right.
There's nothing like walking into Great Palace and running into that upstab area and then having to walk out, going back to get it, and then losing because of that.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me, actually. Luckily, the Darunia was very close to Great Palace when I did it. VReznor is diving into Death Mountain now, so hopefully for him, he doesn't waste too much time trying to find the raft here in Hammer Cave. Hopefully he finds it quickly. Oh, and he's found where he can get to the Spectacle Rock, but unfortunately doesn't have the hammer to access it, so it'll be interesting.
One thing to find the rock, it's another thing to remember how to find the rock.
Right. Well, and it'll be interesting if the rock is hiding the glove and they have to get the hammer in the east to get it.
So we've got Maze Island on the Dark Magician side.
And there we have, that's going to be Palace 5.
And he's already got the first item. Oh, you were quick. The stylings of the first screen.
Okay, and that was the cross that he got, so I gotta mark that on the tracker. So there are 2 items that can be found on Maze Island. So, Dark Magician's gonna look for the other one, hoping that it's...
Dark Magician running into some trouble without downstab here.
Yeah, with the Zoras and these blue Lizalfos. Does make some good use of the Thunder spell, but still has to get a few hits in on the Lizalfos to get the kill, so...
He's got the shield spell, so that's a little bit of a bailout, so it's fortunate.
Buzz, it is me and Cool in the gank on commentary.
He's asking if it's Jean-Claude Van Damme, and we always get confused.
Yeah. Okay,
the only
and
difference being that he can do the split and I can't.
And Dark Magician does a good neutral jump to get over that Lizalfos. Those enemies will actually read your D-pad inputs, and so you have to let go of the D-pad if you want to jump over them. Otherwise, they'll just keep moving with you, and you won't be able to make that jump.
I know. I learned that from Air's performance at the GDQ. I didn't
Yep.
know about that.
Oh, okay. Cerulean Skylark says it's a family-friendly stream. Jean-Claude Van Darn.
Yeah.
Oh, and VReznor has found the Hammer Cave, and he will be very happy to find the raft when he gets to the end. And promptly up A's, and I expect he will go immediately to the eastern continent. Dark Magician finds a pea bag in the other cave. Good for 500 experience, which will help.
Good enough to go to attack 5, not yet, but it helps.
Yeah. So, and if you notice the players pausing after they find something, it's probably because they're marking something on some either a piece of paper or doing some way to track themselves, because it can be really confusing if you don't keep track of where you've been and what you've found. Oh, okay. So I'm being told my mic's a bit loud, and compared to yours, I'm going to adjust that a bit. Chat, please let me know if I adjusted it well enough. Okay, and Dark Magician
Palace 5.
diving into Palace 5. Yeah. They're wanting you to talk so they can see if I adjusted the volume levels good enough.
So those overworld encounters, my brother once told me that he told me that they were actually your character getting shrunk to a tiny size and then having to fight off insects and ants and having to fight your way back home. And then only years later I found out that was the plot of a movie that came out at the time, Honey,
nice.
I Lost the Kids or something.
Yeah. Dark Magician has quickly found Guma and is having a bit of trouble with 444 levels on him, but we'll see how this goes. Oh, and
that was a short Palace 5. Wow.
Yeah, and it looks like VReznor must have picked up the shield spell because he just came out of Old Kasuto.
And Guma is just on the high end of the HP scale.
Yeah. Oh, and VReznor sees Darunia and nopes his way out. And I still think neither runner has picked up the downstab. So VReznor sees Palace 5 and nopes his way out of Maze Island. Dark Magician started a little rough with this Guma, but now he seems to have found his groove. Oh! Yeah, right as I say
Dark Magician just took a game over to Guma, but I wouldn't feel so bad if I was him because he's really close to the entrance.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he's got so much health that it took so much time to get him there. So Dark Magician, I think, is opting to explore for the item now. which is interesting because Palace 5 is the largest palace that has an item you can find in it. Great Palace is larger, but there's no items to find in Great Palace, so...
Chat is saying that he also lost level 5 attack, because if he had beaten Guma, he would have been able to go to the next tier.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
He was so pissed. And what else? He's got a few places to explore that I would explore before exploring Palace 5. Two of them are the P-Bag Caves in East Hyrule, and New Kasuto. I don't think we've seen New Kasuto yet.
Yeah.
And maybe finding a lucky find of the boots. You could check the water, the boot tile. We haven't seen the desert tile either from the East Continent.
We did see, no, in the desert tile was where the flute was.
That's right, yeah.
Actually, I didn't see if VReznor found the flute. He has to have been past where that tile was, so... good question, Do Not Put Me on Pizza. Quite a lot gets randomized in this game, it turns out. The overworld is completely generated anew in a random fashion. The palace layouts are randomized. Which items you get in the palaces and in the overworld locations are randomized. Which spells you get from which towns are randomized. The cost of spells, the cost for level ups, how much your attack does, and when that levels up. I'm sure there's more, but I'm having a hard time thinking about it. The palaces can swap continents, so but basically, if there's something that you can think of to be randomized, it's probably randomized.
Right, and for me, palace layout and overworld layout is probably two of the randomized features that I like the most. Not a lot of hacks have that.
Yeah, and even though the palace layouts are randomized, there are still some general rules of thumb that you can apply to palace exploration. Basically, in palaces 1, 2, and 5, you always access the item by going to the left. So as you see Dark Magician favoring going to the left, that tells you that he's looking for the item. In palaces 3, 4, and 6, you always enter the item going to the right. And in all the palaces, you enter the boss going to the right. So you can take advantage of knowing those things and knowing which palace you're in based on what the rooms look like. Because right now, there isn't a way to randomize palaces, or randomize palace rooms across palaces. So you can figure out which palace you're in pretty easily, and that can tell you whether you need to be going left or right for the to find the item or to find the boss.
Yeah, beyond that, don't think too much because you'll go crazy. But I think I'm, scrambling the rooms across palaces. Don't worry, I'm sure Dick Shake's working on it.
He's mentioned wanting to implement it, so I'm sure he's used it. The drop counters can be randomized to somewhere between 4 and 8. So, getting a lot of experience from that Thundercast as Dark Magician finds the item in Palace 5.
But does he want to up A out of there, or does he want to... And yeah, he's going to take it. If he did up A, he would have lost all.
And it's a P-Bag. I bet he's...
Don't know if he would have had enough to go to 5, but...
I don't think it would have taken him to attack 5, but he'd have been very close.
And he's gonna go beat Guma now.
Yeah.
You don't want to come back to Maze Island. It's always in a remote place or somewhere in the
Yeah.
far east.
At least it's the palace is accessible without having to go through an overworld encounter. But yeah, it is. You always have to go basically all the way across the eastern continent to find the entrance to Maze Island. So I can't really blame Dark Magician for wanting to take care of it. I didn't see the magic container requirement on VReznor's side in Nikasudo.
But I'm sure chat's gonna let us know what it is. And Amazing and Faros giving a really great breakdown of the way the randomizer works right now in chat. So
yeah, thanks for the help, all you knowledgeable chatters. There's a lot of people who are also involved in the tournament in the chat. So
we got the Reflect spell in Nikasudo.
Oh, I'm sure that VReznor is very happy to find that, because now, well, he didn't go in and get the Thunder spell, did he?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll try to pay attention next time he pauses, but I didn't see him. I didn't see him do that. We see Valley of Death, and we don't know what palace is going to be in there. My money is going to be on Palace 4. That's one we haven't seen yet. It's either going to be 4 or 3.
The other, or 3, that's right.
Dark Magician showing some good combat on Guma there. VReznor finding a P-Bag Cave and getting a magic container.
And Guma goes down finally.
And 700 experience, yeah. Oh, and now he's going to want to go grind to get at least 150 or 250 experience.
That's going to be a lot of time spent in Palace 5 for Dark Magician. 9 minutes, over 9 minutes to be exact. I'm trying to keep track of Palace times, just to see if it's a useful stat, even though it's probably not.
So it looks like it was 5 magic containers to get the item out of Nikasudo. And also VReznor hasn't... Oh, he gets the hammer.
Oh, wow. It could be a clutch move.
Yeah, and...
Is in that blocked cave or in Spectacle Rock.
Right. So, but VReznor did not get
his level.
He didn't get the spell out of Darunia, I don't believe.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe he did and I didn't notice.
No, I don't think he did. He clicked on his window again and
oh, he does have spell.
He does have it. He's going to get the item.
And I didn't see if he had...
So, yeah, Dark Magician is just going to eat that gem, or... I think he's just fed up of being in Palace 5 at this point.
Yeah, I think so.
Choosing Life 5, so that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's going to make it really hard to get a lot of attack levels at this point.
So we've got 2 palaces completed on both sides. VReznor with 1 and 2, and Dark Magician with 1 and 5.
Yeah, and at this point, I'm not sure who I give the advantage to. Palace 5 is the longer palace.
Whoever gets the glove.
But Guma was pretty close, so okay, and VReznor up A's. He's probably going to check out at least the hammer cave near the raft spot. It'll be interesting.
VReznor found the water tile, and what was that item he found?
It was just a 1-up. So
yeah, or what the Zelda 2 community started calling the Diggler, I believe, and I'm not sure about that term.
The little digger, I think.
The little
Yeah, I guess they thought it looks like Dig Shake or something. I don't know.
I always thought it looked like a voodoo doll or a Japanese kokeshi doll.
Okay. Oh, and Dark Magician finds the fire spell.
I'm very curious what fire spell is. The best way to find out what it is you run into an encounter and try using it. And depending on the outcome, if you turn into a fairy, it's fairy. If you change color, it's shield. And so on and so forth. Even though once I had full health and it was life, and nothing happened.
Angry Larry would pay good money for a Dig Shake voodoo doll. Oh, and turns out the glove is in Spectacle Rock.
So big advantage here for VReznor.
Yeah.
He's the what the people call full Dig Shake.
Yeah, I think did he?
I believe he is.
Well, he needs to get the down stab.
Oh, right.
But that's at this point though, I would give the advantage to VReznor.
Semi Dig Shake.
Yeah. So now I think he's probably trying to find Mito, remember where he found it before, so he can get the down stab, and I think that was also where the Thunder spell was that I don't think he's picked up yet.
Dark Magician's in Palace 4.
Okay, and did you see, was that the one in Valley of Death, or...?
I did not, but I think I would have noticed if he was in Valley of Death, so I would say that it's the overworld one.
Okay.
I've also got the attention span of a 5-year-old, so I might be wrong.
Yeah, he's probably looking for hoping that he finds the glove in the item room. But it is definitely not common to see runners going into Palace 4 without Reflect. I know I try to avoid it unless I know for sure I need to go in there.
If I have Reflect and I find Palace 4 early and I can cast Reflect, I'll go in for sure and I'll probably go get the item for sure, because in my experience, Palace 4 is not that big.
Yeah, there's...
And you're never glove blocked.
Right. There are 3 dead-end rooms to the right, though, that don't have anything in them of value. So it can take a little while to explore, but it's not as big as 5 or 6. So, oh, and he does find the item room, and it looks like fire must be paired with Reflect.
Oh. But he found it at about the same time as Reflect, so too little, too late.
Okay, and I think I was watching that. I didn't see the item. Oh, was it going back and forth between the two? I think Reznor also picked up the Thunder spell because he would have picked up the spell from Mito. Oh, it was a magic container. Thank you.
Yeah, Palace 4 was a magic container, sorry.
Okay. No worries. Trying to go between the two, it's easy to miss things. So, yeah, at this point, I think VReznor is just going to be clearing palaces and not really worried about finding items or anything. So he's going to dive right into 6.
Taking an up A and just getting a nice refill on his lives here.
Yep.
Buzz Thunder is in the opinion that Palace 4 is no chore.
Yeah, and Reznor's... Oh. that's always risky not to kill those unicorn heads in that room.
That's a move from a speedrunner of all keys for sure.
Yeah, well, even still, a lot of all key speedrunners will kill them just to be sure.
Yeah, it's everybody's favorite room.
Yep. Carissa, I think we've determined that fire is paired with reflect. So that means that Dark Magician won't actually need to find the reflect spell, so...
Going back to the last performance by those two, the Dark Link deaths that they took was actually Dark Link went into a strange AI loop where he stopped moving.
I remember that. Yeah, Buzz Thunder.
The showdown. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just Buzz was asking if the hammer was required, and it is required because the glove was under Spectacle Rock. And Palace 6 was glove blocked almost immediately, so it turns out both the glove and the raft were in Death Mountain, but you couldn't get them at the same time, so this is definitely a trolley seed requiring multiple trips to Death Mountain.
And I was wondering if you had ever seen the Dark Link going into that AI loop where he just freezes and stares you down.
I've seen it a couple of times, but it never happened to me, only watching other people play.
No.
And I think it has to do if you get too much distance between Link and Dark Link, that the AI doesn't know what to do if you get too much distance between. Oh, and VReznor has very low health trying to deal with this Rebenak.
He is making a good go at it, though.
Yeah.
Taking a death. Not a game over. He's got 2 lives, so...
And with attack 4, though, Rebenak is no... easy boss to take down, and on the other side we have Karok. Reznor trying to do the corner strats on Rebenak, but didn't quite work.
He missed the remount.
But gets a good rhythm and takes down Rebenak pretty quickly afterwards. Yeah, that's correct, Carissa. You had to get the hammer in the east between getting the raft in Death Mountain and then the glove in Death Mountain.
So no easy seat for those guys. As I mentioned last time, it was hammer in 6 to get the kid to get reflect. Now we've got, as somebody mentioned, hammer in Death Mountain to get the raft, to get the hammer in the east, to go back to Death Mountain to get the glove.
And we got, Reznor has found Barba, so... And there's he doesn't have jump to deal with Barba, so trying to do what he can without jump. I know some runners find it easier without jump, but I think most of the vanilla all keys runners prefer jump, so...
I know I do now. It's an acquired taste. And I only recently found out that if you walk into that room and don't stop, you'll know exactly where he spawns.
Yeah, that's a good manipulation that you see a lot of the vanilla speedrunners do. Is you don't want to bonk on the floor or the ceiling when you're jumping in. You just go without stopping, and he always spawns in the far right pit. Yeah, upstab strats are good on Barba. when you don't have jump, but unfortunately, VReznor does not have upstab.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing with the upstab
Go ahead.
strats. If you get close enough to Barba, he won't actually shoot fire.
The worst that can happen with Barba is you kill him and you die, and then you miss the experience.
Right, and that happens a lot when runners try to do a jackhammer.
Yeah.
I need to mark... And we also have Palace 4 for player 1. I'm a little behind on marking the tracker. Chat needs to yell at me when I miss stuff like that. Oh, and we have the trophy on Dark Magician's side. And that's in a Peabag Cave in the east. Thanks, Saru. Oh, VReznor finds Great Palace. I don't know if he stepped in there before or not.
At this point, I would say that maybe who's got the glove again? Is it Dark Magician?
VReznor has the glove.
And so he probably has the advantage, and especially with such a short Palace 5.
Right.
We can only assume that he's going to go in, kill Guma, and then just walk right out of there. He won't spend more than a minute or two inside Palace 5, whereas Dark Magician spent over 10 minutes.
Right. I think you're correct. Is that the... I forgot what was in the... Oh, that was the hammer. So, Dark Magician just got the hammer. Oh yeah, and the hammer was also 5 magic container blocked, so...
Could have been 7.
Right.
We'd still be watching these guys go at it now.
Oh, and now VReznor finally gets upstab.
Decides he doesn't want to take a chance.
We'll see if he decides to get the spell. I mean, at this point, I'd be kind of surprised if he does, unless maybe he's wanting to get jump, but... Thanks, chat, for reminding me about the hammer. Okay, and Dark Magician going into 2. So what's... Okay. Now VReznor's going to Palace 5. And I think he'll be pleasantly surprised with a very short Palace 5.
You've made the chat resort to yelling.
Well, I asked them to yell, so... Alright, and so now... VReznor also has higher attack but lower life and magic going into this Guma fight, so we'll see. So long as VReznor avoids taking damage, it should go quicker. And he's getting into a pretty nice rhythm there.
He's got a few lives, and he's a contestant, so he's going to take some risky strats here and hope for a quick kill.
A very, very nice kill against Guma there, and he gets enough XP to bump him up to attack 6.
He spends short of a minute inside Palace 5. It's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh, and Dark Magician takes out Helmet Head. Oh, yeah. Some people say DM for Dark Magician and for Death Mountain. Hopefully the context makes it clear. Dark Magician going back in for the item, I think he's really going to be disappointed when he doesn't find the glove in here.
Dark Magician who chose his handle to troll the chat, by the way. He knew that Death Mountain was going to be a was going to create confusion, and
that was an intentional thing?
No, I just...
Oh.
Probably is. Gonna hear me start to make assumptions and
Oh no, interesting decision. Dark Magician going for life 7. So we're definitely seeing different...
Although you don't have to... you have to choose a stat to increase more than the others, and you don't always have to choose attack, although it's the one that grants the most points.
Right. Yeah, and I think a lot of... Coming from vanilla speedrunning, I think VReznor is likely to be favoring attack. That's the way I play, and I come from vanilla speedrunning as well, so...
I didn't know that, and I wasn't around long enough to know what your background was. I'm glad to hear that.
Yep. Yeah, I started out as an all-keys speedrunner, and then got into the randomizer basic at SGDQ 2016 was the first time I played the randomizer, and I've been enjoying it ever since.
Was that when in 2016? Was that in April or?
Oh no, it was in July of 2016.
July.
So.
Okay.
Yep.
I found out about it about the same time.
And it looks like Dark Magician's gonna finally get down stab. And Reznor's gonna go into what we believe is Palace 3, and now doing something that you don't see a lot of randomizer runners do, but you see vanilla players do a lot, is trying to do encounter skips rather than fairy feeding through the Valley of Death encounters.
Although the encounters in Valley of Death are very close, the encounter bots and the monster icon are going to spawn very close to you, and
Right.
Because of that, it makes it sometimes a little easier to get these encounter skips.
Yeah. I mean, what my general rule is, I try to fairy feet once, and if I miss it, then I just fairy through the encounter. Because knowing I'm going to be getting to a palace afterwards, I can just up A there to refill lives and magic if I need to take a death abuse or something.
Yeah. And here we have our first very successful fairy feat, and Palace, help me
Palace
out.
3.
This is Palace 3, right?
Yeah, and so...
These are going down fast.
Yep, and we'll see if there's a glove block or not, whether Dark Magician decides to try to go into Palace 3 before going to find Spectacle Rock, or where he's gonna go with this. But at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Dark Magician does a full clear at this game. I know, well, maybe he lost. Maybe Dark Magician lost where Death Mountain is, but he's certainly been there because he did have to find the raft out of there, so...
Yeah.
But that's a thing that can happen if you don't take good notes. If you need to go back to a place, sometimes you can forget where it is.
sometimes forget to note where Death Mountain is because I don't consider it important enough, and because I just want to get my 5 items and then.
Yep.
Then I'm like, where was Death Mountain again? And I have to start exploring again.
What made Rez go back where? I didn't see what. I was looking at Dark Magician. I didn't see what. Oh, go back to Death Mountain? Yeah, he got the hammer, and so I think he went to try to see if that unlocked anything.
He probably remembered how to get the Spectacle Rock, too.
Right, and so I'm guessing that decision to go into Death Mountain to find Spectacle Rock is likely going to be the
game
difference.
changer.
Yeah. Because we saw also then Dark Magician spending a lot of time in Palace 5, and now we'll see how long it takes him to dig the glove out of Death Mountain. Oh, and he goes in and turns right back around. So, VReznor finds Rebenak at the end of Palace 3. And makes very quick work of Rebenak. And is all set up to get attack. Well, we'll see if he goes for attack 7 or if he dumps it into life or magic. That 4,500 isn't a lot of experience to dump into life and magic, so maybe he'll take attack and hope that attack 8 is a much higher experience threshold. That's what it's looking like he's going to do. Okay, so now he's got to get to Palace 4.
Yeah, he took attack 7.
Yep.
And Buzz Thunder hinting that VReznor knew about the item being in the Death Mountain in advance, so the conspiracies start.
Yeah, I think one of the entrances had easy direct access to Spectacle Rock. So now Dark Magician is going into 6. And I don't know if Reznor has come across Palace 4 yet or not. I don't recall.
He does not.
Okay. Oh, well, that's got to be it right there, so now he sees it, it's just a matter of getting to it. Oh. He could just walk around the far eastern side. Guess he's going to try to see if he can walk around through the ocean to the left, or to the west side of the continent. Or maybe he didn't notice that he could get through and thinks he has to take a cave. 4, it looked like, was in the south, like in the southern part of the eastern continent. We saw it just below a ridge of mountains. Oh, and there it is, just above those mountains. There is a cave nearby.
It's a boot block cave?
I don't think so. I'm gonna take another connecting cave. So I don't think that he needs to take a cave to find the palace, but hopefully this works out for him. That's not where he wanted to go. Well, the graveyard was over there. I don't think it was mountain blocked, though. Or, well, oh, inside like, right near the palace, yeah. But, and there can be... Yeah, that's true. Buzz. It still could be. I think we'll see how long it takes Dark Magician to get through Palace 6. I don't remember how long it took VReznor to do that.
Is Buzz giving you a hard time again?
Probably. That's what he likes to do to pretty much everyone. So, and we got the host from Adaginos, who was doing the restream of the race between Jameveler and I forget who was in that race actually. But so welcome from that race.
Yeah, we've got VReznor finally in Palace 4, and that's the last palace that he has to do. In the meantime, Dark Magician has Palace 2, Palace 3 to do, and Palace 6.
He's done Palace 2 already, so just 3 and 6.
Oh, I think I must have missed that.
Yeah, he made very quick work of Helmet Head in Palace 2. Okay, and Dark Magician has found Barba, and also does not have jump to deal with Barba.
He knows exactly where Barba is going to spawn because he hasn't stopped.
And he casts Fire, which is paired with Reflect.
Yeah.
And that's a good plan because what that does is it allows you to block Barba's fireballs, and it actually shrinks your hitbox. So, when you have a boss like this that shoots fire at you, Reflect is actually a really good spell to cast. It's useful on more than just Karok.
Does it reduce your hitbox on the T-Bird as well?
It does.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep, and so that's why, personally, I prefer, if I can only cast either Reflect or Shield on Thunderbird, I'll go for Reflect over Shield. And we have Karok coming up on VReznor's side. Oh, taking an intentional death so he can cast Reflect. And Karok is down. Oh, and yeah, that attack 8 is very high, so I think we're going to see VReznor pumping that 9,800 experience into life and magic here to get pretty respectable levels going into the Great Palace. I think he'll be very comfortable with his final levels. Yeah, and pumping it all into life 7, and then the rest I think is going to go into magic, so...
That usually works out best, especially since enemies in Great Palace really deal a lot of damage.
Just actually only wanted magic 5, so...
Which are very good stats for endgame.
Yep.
All you want to do is be able to cast Thunder.
Yeah, and the life 8 will really help with survival against those Great Palace enemies that really hit pretty hard, so... And Dark Magician makes his way through Valley of Death and into Palace 3. And VReznor wasting no time just casting Fairy because he knows he's got an up A right at the start of Great Palace, so...
That's one thing I started doing, especially since Great Palace doesn't always spawn in Death Valley. I know it's so easy to access, so I just ferry my way all the way through Great Palace because I know I'm going to get a life refresh when I get there.
Yep.
Every screen, especially those swamp screens.
VReznor already finds a dead end to the right, so having to go left right off the bat. Oh, and looks boss bot causing all kinds of trouble.
Those waffle rooms, are you of the on the side of people who think that you should use jump in them to avoid especially enemies at the bottom that are massed together? And
It depends what the enemies are in there, but I do in the room that's got that in the vanilla has Bird Knight between the two waffles. That's one I do always cast jump in.
yeah,
I find it makes it easier to deal with the Bird Knight in the middle. But right now that's not really an option for either of our runners because they don't have the jump spell, so... And Dark Magician trying to do quick dismount strats on Rebo and taking a bit longer to dismount Rebo than I think he would have liked. And Rebo is down, so...
only Great Palace to go.
Only Great Palace to go for Dark Magician, so... I mean... It seems like VReznor has a commanding lead, but we've seen where getting lost and turned around in Great Palace can be the difference, even where
a game over to Dark Link in the last time those guys
right.
faced off.
So it's definitely not... I don't think Dark Magician is out of it just yet, so...
And there's your room.
Yeah, VReznor opting not to take the Eon drop, and which I normally say always take the Eon drop, but it turns out in this case you don't want to.
I'm still lobbying to get my own room in there, but I don't know if they still take tenants.
You just gotta have something memorable in a race happen. And that's how you get a room named after you. So, and now Dark Magician is in Great Palace. I did not note the time that it was when VReznor entered.
Yeah, me either.
But so it depends. We've seen an awful lot in this tournament where Dark Link is immediately after Thunderbird. We'll see what happens this time. If there's a lot of Great Palace left to explore, Dark Magician could still come back, so...
So it's clear to me that the story of Zelda 2 is a fight between Christianity and paganism, because when you get to the you have all these crosses across Zelda 2 that have not been censored out, which Nintendo used to do at the time, and then when you get to the end, you get into this this avian cult, right? It's like a bird worship almost like. So for me, it's really like the old world facing the new world, but I might be overthinking it.
Yeah, well, it's the thing I've heard is in Great Palace, you're not actually, like, the enemies are not agents of Ganon. They're all, they're the guardians of the Triforce of Courage. And so they're like an ancient, I don't know, it's an ancient thing, and then you're...
It is, and you get that feeling, and I had a very early version of Nintendo Power where they were covering Zelda 2, and I believe the palaces, they were called cathedrals.
They called them cathedrals? I know, I think
that in a French translation.
Huh, oh, interesting. Because I do know, like, there's a lot of, like, Shinto symbolism, I think, in there, at least in the FDS version, but I don't know a lot about that, so...
FDS? Which version is that?
The Japanese version on the Famicom Disk
the
System.
Original one?
Yeah.
I played that one, yeah.
Oh, and...
So T-Bird seemed to have been really near the middle of the palace as far as progression goes, because we're still dealing with a lot of... here's the fun room.
One away. We'll see if... Hopefully he doesn't take my advice. And he does not.
Yeah, this race is a little closer than I thought.
Yeah.
But
yeah, for a while it felt like VReznor was running away with it, but it's... Okay, and it's interesting to see how players approach Thunderbird, because there's a nice pendulum pattern that you can get Thunderbird in, and now it looks like Dark Magician is doing it, but it didn't look like he was at first. But if you can keep Thunderbird in that pendulum pattern, you can get pretty easily 5 hits in 3 as he's going to the left and 2 as he's going back to the right. And
especially before he starts shooting his loads. No offense to the porn industry.
Oh no! That's not a death you want to take. And Dark Magician casting Reflect now to... casting Fire, which is also Reflect. Oh, and now VReznor has found Dark Link, so this is very likely...
and he's not on his last life, so I don't believe it's going to be too much trouble for him.
Yeah, and VReznor's had a lot of practice fighting Dark Link since last year's tournament, and he's very familiar with the manipulation to take Dark Link down pretty quickly. And there we have it.
So a comeback, not a comeback win, but definitely, if Dark Magician took the first fight, VReznor takes the second, and we're going to be hoping to see these contestants face off again so we can have a clear winner of the rivalry that was born between those two players.
So check in with VReznor to see if he wants to hop in for an interview. So, and yeah, with an SRL time of 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 37 seconds, VReznor is the winner.
That's a lot faster than the last time those guys faced off when they had over 2 hours in.
Yeah, they've both had a lot of time to play Zelda 2 since then, although I think they focused on different things. But there we have Thunderbird taken down, and Dark Magician didn't actually take any damage that time. So...
I think he just saw a VReznor post done in the chat because he went no with his head. Up to this point, he must have thought he had a serious chance at getting first place.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's getting under 90 minutes is generally pretty good in this. So
yeah,
I think if you're racing someone like Digshake or Unos, 90 minutes is not likely to win, but for most of the races, I think 90 minutes will be a competitive time.
Now that the race is finished, Angry Larry's cussing out Digshake in chat. Everything's back to normal.
Yeah. So, and gotta feel like I don't remember exactly where Reznor had to go, but I don't think Dark Magician is far. I think it's possibly in the next room after this drop.
I really can't remember, actually. I'm realizing now how hard commenting is when you're watching two players play at the same time. There you go. Yeah, you're right.
So
you get a shield cast and
debating if he wants to cast fire. Oh, he's gonna cast the fire for the swag. And with the shield spell, Link... Oh, and he's fighting Dark Link straight up, not going for corner strats.
Is it the Dark Magician who does this all the time? He always wants to beat him that way?
I think so, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. It does make for a more Hollywood ending, you know. I always felt like for a last boss to be cheesed like that.
So even though Reznor gets the W, I think Dark Magician gets the swag points for this.
I'm just saying, Hollywood is not making a remake of this game. They just haven't found anybody to cast as Bagoo.
So...
yeah, GG to both players. Highly recommend that people follow them.
Yes. Definitely the Nightbot has been spamming everyone this whole time to follow the racers, follow Dark Magician, follow VReznor, follow Cool in the Gank.
Oh, please don't.
So thank you all for watching. We'll see if Dark Magician wants to come in for an interview. I'm not sure that Reznor wants to, so we'll see. Thanks, Jam.
looking at the time spent in palaces, I've been keeping track, and it seems like one of the big game changers was just Dark Magician spending over 10 minutes in the Palace 5, and hoping to get the item, and as opposed to VReznor spending 2 minutes in.
Yep.
He also spent 7 minutes in Palace 4. I believe he was looking for the item,
Right.
whereas VReznor only spent 3 minutes in Palace 4. He just cleared out of there, and so total Palace time is for both players. We've got Dark Magician spend 33 minutes in Palaces, VReznor only 23 minutes, a 10 minutes difference, and that makes or breaks a race.
Yeah, certainly does. Okay, it looks like Dark Magician is gonna hop in for a post-race interview.
Hi, Dark Magician. I think I heard a beep, and maybe he's in.
Yeah, hi. Hey.
Hey.
How are you doing, man?
What are your thoughts on the glove?
There had to be an easier magic container, I'm sure.
Yeah,
because if my calculation's correct, it was a magic container to hammer to glove.
Right. Well, and you needed the raft out of Death Mountain too, so you needed to make 2 separate trips to Death Mountain there.
Yeah, that one cave was right next to the rock. I just couldn't find it the second time. I couldn't remember when I hit it. But yeah.
But good game. Sorry it
you
didn't.
guys had a very close race, similar to the last time you guys faced, and it seems like we're going to need a third matchup to decide who the clear winner is.
Yeah, there was it was about 5 minutes difference between the two of you this time, so...
Yeah, it would have been a lot closer if I didn't struggle there with Thunderbird there.
Yeah, that death to Thunderbird was pretty heartbreaking.
Thunderbird and Guma, those were my
Yeah, that's right. You had a
footfalls.
very long fight with Guma, and you spent a lot of time in Palace 5 looking for the item. I think that VReznor only spent 2 minutes in there, and that might have been the game changer. But really good game for both you guys. You were very close. Last time you played, you were really close, and both times you played, if you remember the last time you played each other, you had a very trolley seat as well. You had a hammer and 6 blocking the kid, blocking reflect, but that time you both posted over 2 hours, and now you're at a minute 20. What is it? A minute? Yeah, you're a minute 29. You have a very good time, sub 90, right? So.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks you guys for the restream. Thanks for the commentary. Definitely go back and watch it. I always love facing VReznor because for some reason we're the same skill level, whether it's all keys or this. So
yeah, it's. I think you've probably spent a lot more time in the randomizer than Reznor has, and he's really spent a lot of time grinding down that all keys time. So.
Yeah, he's got an amazing all keys time, especially considering emulator.
Yeah, well, he's on NES now.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when he switched over, but yeah, he's been on NES for a little while.
Well, good for him. Yeah, he's a really good player. I'm not ashamed to have lost to him. I expected to have lost last week, so being 1-1 at this stage, I am pretty happy.
Yeah. Well, and I think it was a very good race tonight, and I wish you the best of luck in the rest of the tournament.
Thank you. I'm gonna head out. Have a good night.
Right. Have a good
Great.
night.
Good night.
So,
We've got upcoming races. We've got this was the third matchup of the second round of the Swiss tournament. We had today at the Aginos and Choke Me I Like It, and we had Jamie Evil and Rose City Saint race up. I don't have the result in front of me, but so this was the third race, and tomorrow we've got the Alan Heffley facing off with Amazing and Pharos, and the Air facing off G Coper, which is actually a swap of me and G Coper, where we were facing off. I'm facing off Shiner, and G Coper was facing off Shiner, and I was I was against Air, and then so we just swapped
and yeah, tomorrow night
opponents.
at 8 o'clock Eastern time, the race between Alan Heffley and Amazing Ampharos will be restreamed on my channel, and Adaginos will be restreaming the Error J Coper race. So, final thoughts?
Great matchup between those two, and right, they're very close. It's obvious in their performance. There's not a lot separating them. Different styles always make up for. They always provide good entertainment.
For sure.
I was wondering if there's any matchup that are coming up that you're looking forward to checking out.
Any I'm looking forward to checking out. I think the Error J Coper race should be good, and I will likely be able to catch that after the Amazing Ampharos Alan Heffley restream that I'll be doing. King Doll versus Niram, that should be a good one. Niram faced off against me 2 times in the last tournament, and I took him down both times.
Yeah.
So now
he's a very tough opponent.
He'll be facing off with King Doll, who beat me last week. So that'll be a good one coming up. So, but yeah, I think a lot of good races yet to come in week 2 of the Zelda 2 randomizer tournament. Thank you all for watching. I think we might sign off. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of the tournament, and have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow.